Welcome back to another episode of Tell Me Sis podcast featuring your two favorite sisters,
Alex
and Kyla.
Okay, so we are actually batching 2 episodes today. So if you're watching on YouTube and we look the exact same, that is why. This episode is pretty much, I think this episode's going to go up first. So if next week when you're watching and you're like, wait, did I already see this episode? Because we look the same and we have the same intro. It's not the same episode. Okay. Just
two different episodes.
Just a forewarning. But yeah, it's Friday. We are going to get into a little bit of a life update.
We actually, in the episode we just recorded, which again, we don't know if that's going up before
I think it's going to go
one.
second.
Okay. So next week's episode is really interesting.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
a
you
really
guys
good
will
topic.
really like what we're talking about. But I think today we're going to just do life updates. I think you said you had a really funny story or something.
Well, I just have a story of the past, because we haven't recorded in a week, right? Even a bit more than a week? No, more than a week.
It's getting confusing now because the last time we did actually record was with the guest.
We did the one outside.
No, we did that before the one with the guest.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So my timeline is so skewed
right now. So the last time we recorded was maybe almost 2 weeks ago. We had a guest on. That episode is going to be really, really interesting. I was watching it back, though, because I'm going to be the one editing that episode. It's going to be my first time editing one of the full episodes for Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. So I'm doing the audio and the video and anyways, we'll see how it goes. But anyways, that episode is going to be really interesting because the guest we have on is someone that I met and became friends with in a really unconventional sense. Something that wouldn't be considered a social norm.
Yeah. It's very odd, but honestly, a blessing.
A blessing. And anyways, I was watching it over and I was getting so frustrated because the story is still kind of even with the guest, it was more understandable. You could kind of understand what happened, but we didn't really. It's still a little confusing, but not that it really matters. I think the whole point was that we just wanted to kind of help people realize that, situations like this happen a lot of the time.
And trust your gut.
Trust your gut.
Yeah. Just you didn't get the story across properly, but it's really the message was
it's not
still
even
there.
about it's what happened between the two of us isn't even the point of it really. It's more the message that we wanted, the main message that we want to give everyone is to always trust your gut.
I mean, you gave good advice in the episode, so I'm excited for people to actually listen or watch, because I think it's important in different aspects, but I also think it was wild that girlhood came out of it. I really liked that growing up we would always assume that if there was in this specific situation the girls would become enemies, where it didn't happen. You girls became friends, and I really like that.
Yeah, we wanted it to be more of I wanted to have her on the episode more as a way to show people that you don't need to comparing yourself to other women is never good, and especially if there's a guy involved, don't ever try not to, at least.
Yeah, because it's hard. So hard.
But try not to compare yourself to someone else. And if you have a gut feeling, follow it. Your gut feeling is normally always right.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in speaking to another woman. I think there's a lot of there's a positive message that comes from that episode.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I don't know, I am very excited for you guys to hear it. I mean, it's in 3 weeks, not this week, not the week after, the one after that, because we're trying to do a guest every month essentially, so every 4 weeks. And we already have a list of people that we want to have on and that I've already agreed and that we're excited for. I don't want to become a guest episode, like podcast.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to have every second week where we do a guest, you know, like I don't want that, but I think it is fun to have that dynamic and
yeah. And you never know, like maybe every once in a while we could change it up a bit and
yeah,
you know, if we're just feeling like having 2 guests in 1 month, but like that, it wouldn't be like a thing that would be like consistently like
no.
2 guests every single month.
I just didn't realize how many people wanted to be on the podcast.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
I thought it was just something that we would have to like really like reach out for and like try to pitch. And I'm like, oh wait, we already have like so many people wanting to be on. So yeah. It's exciting. It's fun. And I know you guys really enjoyed the episode with Christina. So we didn't even really get a chance to like talk about that. I think we could talk about that today a little bit. But life update.
Yes.
First, because it's been a while. So we had a bat fly in our room in the middle of the night a few nights ago. Last week. We woke up because of a situation that happened, and we just like whatever dealt with it. And then as we were going back to bed, Dan and I were just like talking in bed and just, you know, chatting and like whatever. And I kept hearing this noise, and I'm like, is Archie awake? Is he walking in the hall, or the dog's coming upstairs? Like, what is that noise? Is there like a piece of paper stuck in the fan? We have a fan in the hallway.
Yeah. I
was like, is there a piece of paper stuck in the fan? And Dan's like, I don't hear anything. I'm like, I keep hearing this noise. And then we have a fan also, that one over there.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe there's something stuck on that fan. And so Dan is like looking, he's like, I don't see anything. I'm like, you don't hear that? And the night before, I had watched a scary movie at my friend's house. We watched The Conjuring. And so I was like, obviously my brain is like thinking all these scary things. Yeah. And then I am hearing it again, and Dan's like, oh wait, I hear that. And I'm like, oh, it's a ghost. And he's like, hey, Alex. He goes, I don't know what that is. And it's getting louder and louder. And then he like looks and he sees something fly into our bedroom. And he was like, it's a bat. He's like, oh my God. He opens the light, turns on the light. Sorry for my English speaking people. He turns on the light, and it's a bat literally flying back and forth in our ceiling. And we're like, like freaking out. And so we're trying to like get the bat out. So Dan closes our bedroom door because he's like, I don't want it like flying elsewhere in the house. And we're opening all the windows. We're trying to like use a pillow to like swipe the bat to get out because we don't want to touch it. And finally, he's like, I need something to catch it. He's trying to use our laundry hamper.
Oh my God.
I'm like, go get the pool net. Because we have like a shallow one and a deep pool net. I'm like, get the deep one. You can catch it. So we went and got it. He caught the bat, put it outside. We're like, okay, great. Haha, funny. I was like taking videos. The next day, sent it to my friends. We're like laughing about it, whatever. We're like, it's Batman. Dan's going to be Batman, whatever. And then later on that day, I call my doctor to get a new prescription for my Vyvanse because we started off like super small dose and we're just like going up slowly. We're just chatting, and I was like, oh, by the way, haha, funny story. Like I didn't sleep very well last night because I was woken up in the middle of the night and there was like a bat in our room. And he was like, what? I'm like, yeah, we woke up to a bat. And he was like,
oh no.
He goes like this. He's like sighing. I'm like, what? He's like, well, I wish I could tell you a good story about a bat, but I can't. I'm like, huh? He's like, hold on. He puts me on hold, and I'm standing here. Dan was like out doing a job somewhere, and I'm like, my daughter's sleeping upstairs. My son is downstairs. I'm like, okay. He's like, I'm going to send you right now to the secretary. She's going to send you referrals to this infectious disease specialist. You need to talk to him like ASAP, like call right now. She's going to give you the number. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, like you need to go. I'm like, okay, but the bat didn't bite me. He's like, well, you don't know that. I'm like, well, it didn't. Like, it didn't fly on me and bite me. He goes, well, it could have bit you when you were sleeping and you didn't know. I'm like, well, I don't have any bite marks on me. He goes, sometimes you don't see them and you don't feel it. He goes, but like if you wake up and there's a bat in your room. No, but like,
thank God you told that story to your doctor.
But this is the thing. I didn't even think because it's like, I saw it fly in, and we were with the bat for maybe 5 minutes, and we didn't touch it. Sometimes
a squirrel will go in someone's home and just like run around a little bit and then like leave, because that happened at mom and dad's. Like, you don't think.
But that's the thing. So he told me this, and of course I'm like panicking because I'm like, what do you mean? Like, it can bite you without feeling it? He goes, well, typically what we do is if you wake up and there's a bat in your room, we assume it bit you. And you need to get like treated for it. So I'm not going to treat you.
But it wasn't in the room. It flew in.
Well, that's the thing.
After.
So he was like, I'm gonna send you
just
to this safe infectious disease specialist at the hospital. Like, this is what he does. Speak to him, and then you'll know what to do.
Oh my God. Okay.
And so I called Dan right away. I'm like, we got to pack our bags and go to the hospital. And he was like, what? And I told him, he's like, what? That's ridiculous. And he was leaving the next day for his race. And so he's like, if I have to miss this fucking race because of a fucking bat, because it's like now it would be his third time missing it.
Yeah.
I'm like, Dan, like, this is our health. Like, I'm not saying you're missing the race, but like, we just need to go.
Yeah.
Because already it's been 24 hours, almost 24 hours since exposure, or sorry, 12 hours since exposure. You don't have that much time. Like, you have like 48 to whatever amount.
Oh my God. Okay.
So I'm like panicked. But I'm like trying to act,
just listening.
I'm trying to act calm. Okay, I'm like, everything's good. Like, Or he's like, what? The bat? Like, what's wrong? I'm like, we're just packing our bags, honey. You want to help me pick snacks? And like, meanwhile, I'm like, okay, we have to pack Rue's milk. I'm like, I don't know how long we're gonna be there for. Like, I don't know what's going on. I spoke to the secretary. She sent me all the information, sent me the referrals. I called the doctor, and they were like, can you come in like half an hour? I'm like, I live so far from this like one specific hospital. She's like, okay, it's fine. Like, we'll still be here when you get here. Like, just come. I'm like, okay. But I'm like, but I only got referrals for me and my husband because he's not the GP for my children. She goes, well, the children were in the house. I said, yeah. Was the bat in their room? I'm like, well, my daughter always sleeps with the door closed, and my son's door was open for maybe 5 minutes when like we went in, but like, that's it. And she was like, anyway, just bring them and we'll assess. I'm like, okay. So on the way, Dan's like so upset because he's like, he's like, Google right now, like, what is it if we were to get like rabies shots? Like, what does that entail? So we're like looking it up, and it's like a set of 3 or 4 shots every like when you take the first one, then it has to be like 3 days after that one, you take another one. It's like this whole thing you do. And I'm looking up in Health Canada, right? Like, everywhere in the world is different. And, but I'm like searching all of our bodies. I'm searching my kids. I'm like, I don't see any bite marks. Like, I would assume it's 2 bite marks like a bat, you know? And I'm like, I feel like I would feel it. Anyway, whatever. We get to the hospital. We're like waiting our turn, and we finally go to see the doctor. And he's like this older man sitting in a chair. And like, we're this family, like, I'm like all stressed. I sit down with the baby. I'm trying to feed Rue. And he's like looking. He goes, so what's the story? So we tell him the situation. He goes, where's the bat? And Dan goes, well, we got rid of it. We threw it outside. He goes, you didn't keep the bat? And I look at Dan. Dan looks at me, and we're like, no. He goes, that was your first mistake. We're like, what? He's like, well, we'd have to test the bat to see if it has rabies or not. I don't know if that bat had rabies. And I'm like, okay, well, our first instinct wasn't to keep the bat. Like, I've never, by the way, ever in my life heard of like a situation of a bat flying in. Like, I didn't know this was a thing. Okay. So me and Dan are looking at each other like, are we the only people that didn't realize you're supposed to keep the bat?
No, I never would have known that. But also, like, do you know how it got in?
We have an idea of what we think. So we live in the woods, and this is what Dan was trying to explain. Like, we have foxes around here. We have wild turkeys. There was a black bear the other day. So like, the kids couldn't go outside for recess because there was a black bear. Like, we live in the woods. And so there's bats all the time. And we're doing construction. And so there is one part upstairs where like it leads to the attic. So if a bat did get in to the attic, it's possible because they could squeeze through a dime size amount. Like, they're like mice, right? And so it's possible that it flew in that way, because when we let the dogs in and out at night, it's like we open the door for 2 seconds. I would have seen a bat fly in.
Yeah.
There was no windows open, no doors were open. So we searched the house, right? So that's our assumption, is there was a bat in the attic, and it came through the little construction. So Dan like taped it all off. It's like so tight now you can't get through. But so the doctor was like kind of condescending, because even to me, he was like, well, what I want you to do, first of all, Dan had to explain the story 4 times to him. And then he was like, well, we don't know if the bat bit you. We have to assume it did. And so Dan's like, okay. He goes, I want you to write down the story right now. So I was like, going to go write it down. He goes, no, I don't want you to write it. I want him to write it. And I'm like, okay. So like, Dan had to go write it. And I'm asking questions. And the guy is just like looking at me like I'm some kind of idiot who didn't know anything about bats. He's like, well, obviously bats have rabies. I'm like, okay. But does that mean every bat has rabies? He goes, well, obviously not. I'm like, okay. So then why are we like, I didn't keep the bat. So what do you want me to do? I will never know if that bat has rabies or not. So he said, okay, We have to assume if you woke up in the middle of the night and there was a bat in your room, we have to assume it bit you. So we have to treat you as if it bit you and your children too. And I'm like, okay. So we're talking about rabies shots, whatever. And so then he goes, explain to me the story one more time. This is like the 5th time now Dan's explaining it. He goes, so we come back in the room and then we're sitting there, we're hearing these noises. And then I look up and I see the bat fly into my room. He goes, wait, the bat flew into your room? And we're like, for the 5th time, yes. He goes, then you're fine. You saw it fly in. Chances are it was not in your room prior, because there's no way it would like fly out, fly in. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't make sense. So chances are you're fine. But what I want you to do is call the public health of like your city, of where you live, and ask if there's been any reported cases of rabies in bats, or if there's been anything about a bat. Sorry, my son just came home. Hi, Archie.
I see a monkey.
So anyway, as soon as he starts telling us like what we need to do, Dan's like packing up the bags. He's like, let's go. Like, let's get out of here. He's like, I'm not missing my race. Like, I don't want to be here one more minute. But I'm like trying to get the information from the man. I'm like, okay. So I call public health tomorrow. I like ask these questions. He's like, yes, ask their opinion. I think it's fine and like whatever, but like talk to them. I'm like, okay. And so the next morning I call the city and they're like, well, we don't really have public health like for this specific city, but you can call these 2 numbers. One's emergency for this and one's this. I'm like, okay. So then I call a number and the girl was like, I'm not a specialist when it comes to bats or rabies or anything. She goes, I actually think that like the person you spoke to is like the person who's going to know best, like the doctor. She's like, but I am a biologist and I do know that the cases of rabies have gone up, especially in the Montérégie area. She goes, which is not our area, but still that comes up from the States, and it has been a rise in rabies. So there is a new law where you don't move wildlife without like professionals. So she goes, I don't know your specific area. I would assume it's fine because of the story you're telling me, and this exposure was probably what you guys had in your room. You didn't touch the bat with your hands. You got rid of it. It didn't bite you because you saw where it was at all times. It wasn't in your kids' rooms that you know of because your kids' doors were closed. Like, we'll assume that was the exposure you had and you'll be fine. She goes, but I'm going to speak to a specialist, like a real specialist. And he knows everything there is to know about bats, and I'll call you back, like, if anything. I'm like, okay. That was like comforting to hear.
Yeah.
And then she did give me another number to call. Like, it was like the people of the Montérégie area for like bats and rabies and stuff. So I called them and he's like, we do everything for animals and rabies, just not bats. So you have to actually call like chausserie.ca, because chausserie is like what a bat is in French, .ca, and go on the website and see what they say. And I'm like, okay, you know what? We're fine. But like what I was saying in the other episode, which I don't know, that hasn't gone up yet. I was just talking about how like my brain instantly goes to like worst case scenario, and Dan's like, oh, he's fine. Like he's like, it's going to be fine. In the situation of like, if we had to get the rabies shots, I'm like, I would rather assume the bat bit us. This was before we spoke to the doctor.
Yeah.
I would rather assume the bat bit us and get the rabies shots for preventative reasons than to like not and just assume and then be like, we're fine, and then like get rabies and like that it's over. There's nothing you can do once you know. And that's what we had like put into ChatGPT to like talk to like say like what's a reasonable whatever. So because of the situation and the exposure, like all the professionals were like you're fine.
Yeah.
It's different if you wake up in the middle of the night and the bat was in your room, or you wake up in the morning and the bat was in your room.
So if it's like you wake up and it's already there in your room kind of thing.
Yeah,
like,
then it's like
still, I would have never known that you have to keep the bat.
Yeah,
like,
supposedly people know that. None of my friends knew it. When I told them the story, they were like, what? And then there's other, like, people were, now that I've talked about this situation, like, I've seen some TikToks of, like, bats and, like, that situation happening and, like, them getting a bite and them not knowing they got a bite. But Dan and I were talking. I'm like, we're such light sleepers because of the kids. And, like, the monitors are always on. And, like, anytime my daughter makes a noise, I'm, like, always kind of half awake. Yeah. I feel like I would have heard a bat fly into my room.
Yeah, well, the fact that you heard it before it even came in the room.
Yeah, but we were awake already.
True.
But I'm like, I feel like if it flew into my room in the middle of the night.
Do you guys sleep with the door, like your doors closed?
No, open.
Okay.
I'm like, I feel like I would have heard it fly into my room. It would have made noise. Like, how can I not feel it bite me? You know, like there's just, I'm not a deep sleeper. Maybe some
But how long has it been now?
This was last week.
So you're definitely fine.
Well, we wouldn't know for months. Rabies can take up to months to show symptoms. So
I think that,
but you have to get the shots within like the first 48 to 72 hours of exposure.
okay.
Like, I think that there's like a whole system, and I know every country does it different.
I mean, like the doctor that you went to see, like the specialist for infectious diseases, I think that he clearly wanted to be like more on the safe side. And the fact that he told you you're most probably fine is very promising.
Yeah. I mean, we'll never know. We'll never know 100% how the bat got in. I mean, I know now because my friend was like, oh, put up a bat house in your tree so that the bats can go.
Do I see a monkey?
So my friend was like, you should put up a bat house so the bats will go like be there, because the girl on the phone who was a biologist said it was probably trying to nest. If it like came in the house, it was probably trying to find a nest or like make a nest. So I was like, should I put a bat house, or is that just going to attract more bats to my area? She's like, well, I think the bats are there no matter what. You live in the woods. So like putting up a bat house might not be a bad idea, because then it would just go nest there.
Listen, now you know.
Yeah.
And now you know if ever it were to happen again, which knock on wood it doesn't, but if it were, you're supposed to keep it. Maybe you guys could go out and buy something where, like, worst case, if you ever were to find another bat in your home, you have some type of device or tool that helps
like
it.
A cage?
Yeah, like make it easier to catch the bat.
Well, they told me another story that happened the week prior when I was there at the doctor. He was like, last week we had a case where a family came in because they found a bat in their bathtub. I'm like, what? Yeah, the kids were taking a bath and there was a bat in the bathtub, and the dad caught it and put it in a Ziploc bag and just threw it in the garbage. It was alive. And I was like, what? Like, see, I would never do that because I didn't want to kill the bat.
Yeah.
But because he'd thrown it in the garbage, when they went to see the specialist, they were like, go back home and get the bat. So he was able to go get the bat out of the garbage.
Did it die at that point?
I guess. I didn't ask, but I was like, ugh. And then they were able to test it, and it was fine. There was no rabies. But they also didn't know you're supposed to keep the bat. The dad just caught it and put it in his Ziploc bag and just threw it in the garbage because he was like, ew, gross. You know, whereas Dan and I were trying to be like, nice, and like save the bat. Hi, Ruby. Hi, Ruby. That's our story of the bat. I can maybe insert some footage of it.
Oh, you took a video?
Yeah, I took videos. The thing is, Dan's in his underwear. I have like my bras like hanging out, like they're whatever. Like we'll see.
Maybe there's like a crop you can do.
Oh, there is a part of the video where I like zoom. The bat like climbs on my door and it tries to like hide on the curtain, and I zoom up on it. And I'm like, it's so cute. It's really cute.
There's no way I'm gonna get close enough to catch it.
Baby. Oh my god, look at it. Just making itself at home. Okay. Yeah. It was cute. I liked it. But then I was like terrified after. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And my doctor's reaction was so scary.
Yeah. Because also, but I think that for doctors, sometimes it's like they probably see like some cases that like is haunting.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, like a young family comes in and like they don't know about certain things. And so it's like, he obviously like didn't like communicate it properly, but like from his end, he probably like,
wanted to like
scare you.
Yeah, because he wanted me to take it seriously. And
yeah,
he knows me. He knows I'm like.
It's like that time I like when I was. I mean, this is a different situation, but like still kind of like the same. Where I was like 17 years old and I ran out of gas on the highway, and I like pulled over to the side of the road, but it was on the left side of the highway, and Dad had to come and bring gas
on the shoulder.
On the left side.
Oh no!
But I lost gas. I ran out of gas. I had no choice.
Okay.
And so the cops ended up coming too, and one of the cops like screamed at me. He told Dad, he goes, "Sir, you're gonna want to cover your ears for this." And the cop screamed at me, like scared the crap out of me.
Well,
and
never
like
park on the left again.
At the time, no, he was getting upset with me because not only did I park on the left side, but he said the fact that you ran out of gas when you were on the highway in the first place, like that shouldn't even be happening.
Yeah.
And I was like, I remember like being so upset, but like
he's right.
He was right, and it like he really scared me in that moment, and like I learned, you know. So like with this doctor, it's like you kind of like you want that wake up call in a sense.
I could tell by his tone when he said what, when I was like, haha, funny story, like there was a bat in our room, his immediate like, what? I could tell. I'm like, wait a minute, that wasn't like the reaction.
Yeah.
Like my friends, when I told, they're like, what? That's crazy. Like Dan's Batman, you know, like wild. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad that we did go because in the end, like we were still home in time for Rue's bed. Like it was fun. The kids were like, yay, you know, like adventure.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be okay.
Yeah.
Regardless, I always
that's like,
want to be proactive.
Yeah. And like also like I would have never known. I don't live in the woods, but like I do live on the water.
But I'm sorry. It's not sorry. We said we were trying to tell the doctor we live in the woods and that's why there's so many animals around here. But bats are everywhere. We went to Mount Royal one time years ago to hang out. And there was bats everywhere.
Yeah, so
if there's
it's a good
trees,
thing that I
there's
know
bats.
that now too.
There's bats in the West Island.
But I also
Montreal.
sleep with my door closed.
You're also in a condo building. Unless you're keeping your window open at night.
Like the spiders don't even get in to my condo. Knock wood. Because I live on the water, and so the spiders on my balcony
they want your balcony
are huge, and people freak out all the time, and they're like, "Oh my god, how do you do it?" I'm like, "Well, first of all, they only come out like at night time. During the day, they hide, but also they never get into my condo. Like I've never seen one of the really big ones in my condo. I don't even get that many spiders in like normal sized spiders in my condo that often either, but like knock wood.
Yeah.
I don't want to jinx myself.
No. So the bat bite would be like a snake bite, like the two little teeth. I mean, not as big as a snake, but two little teeth. That's what it typically looks like. And it can swell, it can whatever. But yeah, that was definitely a wake up call. So I wanted to say the story online just to warn anyone.
Yeah, so if ever there's a bat in your home, just know you have to probably keep it.
Just call your doctor.
Yeah.
But I mean, hopefully it doesn't happen again, but now we know.
But thankfully you brought that story up to your family doctor.
I know. And you know what's wild is the fact that the reason why we were awake in the middle of the night was because, I don't want to say it because I don't want to like, whatever. We were up for a specific reason. And I'm like, it's almost a blessing in disguise that situation happened. Because we wouldn't have been awake. And I do want to believe that I would have woke up with like hearing the bat fly into my room.
Yeah.
But I don't know 100%. And I feel like it was like meant to be. And the fact that I like had to call my doctor that day of all days.
Yeah.
To get the renewal or like my dose of prescription and all of that. So it all
the way that worked out was.
Yeah.
That was like the universe protecting you there.
I know. Weird, huh?
Yeah. Like that is
because like who knows, maybe I wouldn't have woken up, maybe the bat would have flown in my room and like bit us and we would have never known.
Sometimes things like that happen, like a situation happens and like then I think back to like all the things that kind of like protected me in a moment or like protected someone else, like in this case, and I'm like, that is just like, what are the odds?
Because it was like minutes after we went to bed.
Because normally you don't have a doctor's appointment every day.
No.
Normally you're not up at midnight.
Also the fact that I just decided to bring that up.
Yeah.
I never would have thought that a bat would like, especially because we didn't touch it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that there was this whole like, well, we assume it bit you if it was in your room when you were sleeping.
Yeah.
So very odd that I even...
Yeah.
Small talk.
The way that just all like worked out in your favor was...
Very odd. I didn't think about it like that. Really.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then Dan was able to do his race. He did amazing. We're all so proud of him.
Yay.
Like such a
congrats, Dan, if you're watching this.
Accomplishment. Such an accomplishment. I mean, 70.3 miles is insane. It's a half Ironman for anyone who's confused.
That's why I want to do a half marathon.
That's what I'm doing in September.
Where is it?
Montreal. You want to do it with me?
How many kilometers is it?
21.
For like an average runner for the half marathon, more or less, what's like the average time it takes to run?
Sorry, my camera battery dies. This camera battery dies so fast. So we're just going to kind of like bang out this episode now because we were recording already for so long.
Yeah.
From the previous episode. But
What were you saying again?
So the marathon, it depends on like, it depends on your pace. So like I've actually never run 21 kilometers. The most I've ever run is 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran at like a 6-minute pace, just a little bit above a 6-minute pace. So, I mean, if I had to do that, basically double it, you know, here's the thing. After 10K, I was like dying. I'm like, how am I supposed to double this? Dan says it's different during the race though. Like you definitely want to train to get up there and like make sure your muscles are strong.
Yeah, like maybe I can do it with you and like we could train.
Because like you don't necessarily need to run 21 kilometers before doing it. Like a lot of people will train and like they'll run maybe 16, 17 at most. And then on actual race day, then they'll go to 21K. Because I think there's like a 17K wall that you hit typically, which like it feels harder after that. But he was like, if with the proper training and then like if you have your gels on you, which they're like hydration gels and like energy gels, basically give you like a boost of energy. You take them at specific points, you know, during the race.
Yeah.
Proper shoes. Do a bit of strength training to make sure your joints are good. Yeah. And he goes, and then also on race day,
my joints would be so bad.
But he's like, on race day, everyone is like cheering. You're with a bunch of people. Like the whole added aspect of, the whole added element of the energy of being with all these people
running together side by side during the half marathon. We're both like
remember the 5K we ran together?
Alex, that was hard for me.
Well, yeah, because it was 5K.
But I run like often, but I think the reason that was so hard for me was because during that time I wasn't running as often. And my shoes were really bad.
Yeah, you need good shoes.
I need really good shoes, but I also like I need to stretch more, and for me it's like my joints.
Yeah,
like,
I've been strengthening my muscles around my joints. Like I've been trying to gain more muscle just by specific exercises and using actual like weights.
I need to go on ChatGPT and ask for some training.
You know what I think we should do too?
Yeah.
We should go to the running room together and have them assess us as we're walking and running to tell us which shoes are best for us. Because that's like the best thing to do.
Because I'm misaligned. Catherine remember I got that injury years ago and I couldn't run? So Catherine was working on me and she was like making me walk back and forth, and she was like, you're very misaligned. Like your hips are kind of out of place and like it kind of travels up, and like remember I was even showing you recently like my shoulders aren't aligned either, but like that travels down to my hips and it's like my legs. I feel like even when I'm doing reformer Pilates, there's like on one leg, like my right leg, when we're doing like squatting or like lunges, like my balance and like my posture is fine, but then on the left side, I think it's the left side, it's like my posture is like I can't do it, and it's not because of like a strength thing. Maybe it is a little bit strength, but it's like my body, like my bones are like.
Did she give you exercises to do when she was treating you?
Yes, but this was like years ago in like 2019 or something.
If you are like misaligned, because I know for me I had an injury and she was treating me as well, there's different exercises I had to do for different sides of my body.
Yeah.
Because it was not, and like no one is symmetrical, by the way.
I remember she gave me exercises, but you know, I think I need to see an osteopath.
Yeah, they don't do the same thing, but they all can give like very similar exercises for you to like work on your strength training, because I think strength training as a woman, especially as we're aging, is like the most important thing.
Yeah.
Not cardio, not endurance. I think those are all added benefits, but I think the most important thing is strength training and making sure your muscles around your bones and your joints are strong so that you can like live a healthier, longer lifestyle. Just because as women, as we age, our bones turn to dust. Lovely. So if all you're doing is running and cardio, you're going to have dusty ass bones by the time you're 40. Like you need muscle.
Me.
You need to have like strength.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you need to be a bodybuilder.
I definitely think that strength is something I've been thinking about this for a while. I was like, I need to work on my strength, even my core strength.
Yeah.
Because even sometimes when I'm standing up for a while, like my back in this one area really hurts. It feels like it's like pulling. Maybe but I think I do have mild scoliosis.
Oh, okay.
My body is just like messed up. Like it's my bones. They're so misaligned.
Yeah. I mean, people are very like anti-chiropractor. I have a lot of friends that are in the professional field that are not on board with chiropractors, but
I think if you do your research, but also with chiropractors, they don't actually like fix you. They just like